There is more to me, Queen Eliara of Elfgard, than my elven magic. Just as there's more to Geico than saving you money, Geico also gives you 24/7 access to licensed agents online, on the phone, or on the Geico app. And while I am a mighty elf queen, I am also a mighty big fan of barbecue potato chips. Minions! More smoky mesquite.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
I interrupted you.
Blog Talk Radio.
Got it here, so.
Welcome to the War Room. We got Dez, Chill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the Hot Block Commander. How you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to keep the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Roll with the topic, sorta like the rebels. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4 for 26, so the war ain't Kuwait. It's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys diversified and educated.
Turn me out my headphones. Let me know if the tow truck coming. What's good, War Room family? You are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports on the War Room Sports Podcast Network. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Devin McMillan. I'm at the War Room Roundtable with my brothers, Jimmy the Blueprint and that boy B. Austin. There's big baller trouble in Little China. We're going to discuss it in depth, as well as what's going on in the NBA, NFL, and more. So keep it locked right here to get in on the conversation. And make sure you join us right now in the JW Philly Realty chat room at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room, or join us on Facebook or Twitter at War Room Sports. You can also call us directly in about 5 minutes when we open up the Digital Extreme Tech Hotline. That number, as usual, is 323-410-0012. Look, good people, during the week when we're not live on the air, be sure to check out the War Room Sports Podcast Network. Besides our own critically acclaimed podcast, The War Room, which you're listening to right now, you can also listen to shows such as The Broad Street Line and The Broad Street Line Express with Roy and Chris, The Tissue and the Tape Hip Hop Show with Phil Maddock and Savad, John Appetit, if you guys like to eat, with the Burtons, On the Couch with the Wilsons for all you TV heads, Corner 3 with Joel, Azan, and Mark for all you NBA basketball heads, and a whole lot more. Just visit warroomsports.com, click the WRS Podcast Network tab, or go to our free mobile app and click the network tab there. What's going on, brothers? What's the deal? What's the deal?
Yo, man. Don't all jump on at once. No. Just trying to survive.
Man Zeke suspended again until like Sunday morning.
No, I'm really offended. I'm really offended by Jerry Jones. I just want to say that. I know we'll get to it later on. Yeah, I'm offended.
He's an offensive cat at this point. We know what. I mean, we've always known what he cared about. But yeah, he really drawing there.
Yo, I'm just happy to be here in America with the 3Ks because a lot of stuff going on overseas in terms of and that's not what y'all think about. I'm not talking about any wars. I'm talking about stealing Louis belts in China and whatnot.
I knew what you was talking about. Big trouble in Louis.
You can't even steal a Louis belt over in China.
Taking that lightly. About to have a broke down palace situation over there. But what I wanted to tell y'all, I guess, I had to tell the listeners too, like, I might be leaving the show because there's a lot of slots opening up in Hollywood, and I could finally get my shot as an actor, because everybody in Hollywood getting roofed now. Like Jimmy said earlier, like he was telling me the other day, Jim, he was on his Nino. This is bigger than Harvey Weinstein.
I told y'all a long time ago.
A lot of people going down with me. Yo, you hear like 3 or 4 people a day, like either raped or sexually harassed women, raped boys, younger kids. They said Charlie Sheen.
Can you imagine when they get Tyler Perry?
When he was 13 years old.
Yo, cut it out, man.
When he was 13 years old on the Lucas set, they said Charlie Sheen, tried to give Corey Haim rest of the day something that he didn't want. They said my man Steven Seagal was unzipping his leather pants on chicks in the trailer.
Everybody is going down. Curios and
Louis C.K., He got some stuff coming out about him. So yeah, I might have to make that trek out to Hollywood, man. But
yo, it's crazy though, cause like the actual outrage doesn't seem to be as bad as it was when Cosby got caught up. And I'm not going with this where y'all think I am. I'm not going on the race angle. What I'm saying is, Cosby's out there on the island. They said, look, we're gonna put
Cosby made it easier for everybody.
We're gonna spread this around.
Cosby died so you could live.
Yo, we're gonna spread this around so everybody gotta take all this heat at one time. My man Jeremy Piven got like something every day, something new come out.
Yeah, I know. My man Ari about to go down. Yo, Kevin Spacey. Like, he has a movie. He's not the main character, but he has a movie coming out December 22nd.
Kevin Spacey said, I couldn't have done it. I'm gay.
Which is weird. But,
yeah, it's like, I'm gay, so it's cool. Like, huh? You was messing with little boys, doggy.
Gay pedophile. That's all that means. But no, Kevin Spacey has a movie slated to come out December 22nd. As we speak, they're reshooting all of his scenes with another actor, and they still plan on making that deadline. The movie's still supposed to come out when it's supposed to come out. Yo, they're about to erase some of our favorite actors from Hollywood.
No.
Crazy. Yo, the Negro community gonna be done when somebody say something about Den.
Yo, but you know that most of these are not us though.
Oh yeah, no.
Yo, I just told you it's all good. They coming to Atlanta to get Tyler.
Well, first off, it ain't that many of us are getting roles anyway, so, I mean? What
and then most of the movies where we're getting roles, they be like all black cast, so ain't nobody worried about that. They probably make it in anyway. But
pretty much, I mean? We call it a frat party.
Yeah, I ain't even trying to play the race angle, but Robert Downey Jr. got in trouble, and my man Wesley Snipes just didn't pay his taxes. Like, who can't get a role after they didn't pay their taxes? Like, who cares?
Yeah, I'm just wondering what they're gonna say about me. What they're gonna tweet about me when I, when I go out there and start getting some roles.
You're gonna be a young lady from somewhere gonna say you did it wrong.
She's gonna be like, he said he was just gonna put the tip in. Let's talk sports.
On that note,
what's wrong with y'all, man? All right, look, man. Let's talk about some hot topics, man, because there's some hot stuff going on over in China, from what I hear. Hot Topics are brought to you by that wonderful piece of literature called Sports the Book. You guys tired of reading the same old sports book with those same old tired lists, rankings, imaginary starting lineups, imaginary matchups? What if Michael Jordan played against Russell Westbrook and who gonna do this? Y'all tired of all that BS? Be sure to pick up your copy of Sports. Now check the acronym. Smart people only read the sports. And y'all seeing that I'm slowing it down. You're probably not smart people if you don't even get what I'm doing there. But smart people only read the sports. Think about it, figure it out. It's a mixture of hip-hop culture right along with the sports. It'll keep you on the edge of your seat, and it'll keep you laughing like you were watching a comedy special, not by Louis C.K. Shout out to him, though. So just go out to sportsthebook.com or get your copy from our website at warroomsports.com. But wherever you decide to cop, just make sure you don't miss the movement. Now, if you were on the internet earlier, and you probably know that this episode is titled "Big Baller Trouble in Little China." Maybe only a select few of you guys will get that as well. But the big story of the week was LeVar Ball's middle son. And you see how we start things with LeVar Ball because he's the superstar. LeVar Ball's middle son, not Lonzo Ball's brother. You know what I'm saying? LeVar Ball's middle son, LiAngelo Ball, who is a freshman at UCLA and slated to get his season started this week, along with two teammates, Jalen Hill and Cody Riley, was caught shoplifting in a Louis Vuitton store in China. UCLA is in China to play Georgia Tech in, a preseason matchup. This has been going on, for a few days. I think a lot of people out there, fellas, they don't understand the seriousness of this because they're just thinking about American laws. Like, oh, that's not
thinking about it in terms of
right.
America.
Yeah, they're not really realizing that, this happened abroad, in a communist country to boot. Like, stuff like that is not taken lightly, especially when foreigners are doing it. Now, I know there's a lot of people with a lot of power who are over there negotiating for these young men as we speak. But, like, what did you guys think when you first heard this? Did y'all think it was going to be a broke-down palace situation? Think LiAngelo and his homies were going to be in a Chinese jail for
the first thing that I thought? The first thing that I thought was that, it takes a lot of balls to go to China and steal. Then again, sounds like it only took one. But
LiAngelo Ball is leading the nation in steals, and the season ain't even started yet.
The jokes are endless, man. Because I'm about to say I don't know what's gonna happen now, but China, the ball's in your court. But anyway, but on a serious, wrong with the war room? But on a serious note, though, right? I think Jello didn't do it. Free Jello. I think that he's just not snitching. He was.
You think he's not snitching? You think he's listening to Melo? You think Jello is listening to Melo?
No, Melo snitched.
Oh, Melo told.
He just waited till he got out of the presence of.
Melo snitched on his grandpa, so he'll snitch on anybody. But anyway,
I think he had to. I think his grandpa was bitch for letting him take that.
His grandpa was taking that to the grave with him. Like, so Melo,
I'm not gonna say nothing because that's the point, man. People have no clue what we're talking about if they don't watch this show. Ball in the Family. Shout out to them.
So my research is based on watching every episode of Ball in the Family.
No, I mean when I say Melo, I'm talking about Carmelo.
So you talking about no snitching Melo?
No snitching Melo. The real Melo. Real Melo said no snitching.
Well, the real Melo is from Sugar Hill, but that's either here nor there. I get your point. You're talking about Hoodie Melo.
Hoodie Melo. I'm talking about Hoodie Melo.
Okay. Not Rim Melo.
This is funny because the first thing that my beloved and beautiful wife said, they're going to cane him. They throw him in jail for 8 years. I said, damn.
She on that 80s China stuff.
I've seen Locked Up Abroad, though. Now, granted, it be in some wild countries, but they get busy.
There's only two ways that this can go. A is what we fear and what we're kind of talking about, which is China decides to make an example of dude, which, on the world, your audio good, in the world scene with who is the president of the United States of Laughs right now, I could see someone taking this down the wrong path just to get a reaction and just to play games. But what they don't realize is that Jello is a mulatto, half-black athlete who the Donald probably wouldn't even care about, with the exception of the tie to America, and you can't do this to an American. That's the worst case scenario. The reality is what I believe.
Think Donald care about these three black boys?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Listen,
the reality of what I believe is going to happen is just like America is no longer a democracy and really isn't a republic. China is no longer a communist or socialist nation, and everybody's somewhere in a gray area, and money talks. And the fact that these three young boys are attached to an institution, they're athletes, the prominence of the Ball family, the notoriety of the dad, the fact the brother is in the NBA,
the drawingness
of the dad, which is the NBA is the number one sport, I believe, watch sport in China. They're gonna get off. It's not going to be a problem. The Chinese will probably find some way to embarrass dude, but it's not going to be any real consequences, and he'll get off. And hopefully, when he gets back to UCLA, he'll be suspended for 10 games or something to that effect, and those players will learn their lesson. I, like you, Jimmy, believe that Jello is trying to show he's cut from a certain cloth, and he just ain't telling. because I don't think that Jello was gelling, and I don't think he stole. I think his homie did, and they just tight.
Well, here's my thing, right? The one thing I know about the family is like the balls love being in people's mouths. Slow it down. Anyway, because no matter what, we're still talking about them. Somehow, let's try to figure out how VAR is going to flip this.
From VAR's perspective, this is great.
Well, it will be in the mouth. If Jello gets off, then LeVar gonna he gonna love this. He's gonna love because now he's international with his.
Because think about it, the balls are in everyone's mouth. Jimmy. The balls are in everyone's mouth. Ain't he going to get off?
What you gonna say is if he
the jokes just write themselves, man.
If he gets off, because you got to get off if the balls is in the mouth. What you're saying is this could turn into a major shoe deal for the ball.
What? Not with Klay Thompson and them, because he's gonna be banned from the country.
Yeah, I've read reports that they might serve because they're out on bail, but they might be forced to serve 20 days of house arrest, but receive permanent banishment from China after it's all said and done. And I heard that this punishment might have to be served at the Hyatt Regency where they're staying. So who's gonna pay for that?
Yo,
I know you say
that's kind of hard. Imagine when you get back home and you meet chicks like, listen, let me tell you about the time I got banned from China. That's hard. Anyway,
but that might end up messing with his dad's business though, Jim, because the best chance LeVar Ball had at a distribution deal was probably in China. You know what I'm saying? So he might have messed up a lot of money for his pops with this whole thing.
I mean, not really. He don't have to be there. Their family is tight.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
I mean, it depends on.
Had nothing to do with that.
It depends on how petty, the Chinese are going to be about it. I mean, he's banned, but are we going to mess with
laundry?
But I'm thinking
about
like,
how many jobs. If he's able to get that deal, that's going to provide so many jobs. So they ain't going to,
At what point will they overturn that though, Jim? Because let's say Jello, who by most people's accounts think he's the one of the three brothers that's least likely to make it in the NBA. Let's say he doesn't make it in the NBA. Like the CBA in China is where dudes who don't really do much in the NBA go to shine. So they're going to turn them down. They're going to turn down a Ball brother in the Chinese Basketball Association.
They're going to turn down some balls.
Well, listen though. Here's the thing. Their family is pretty tight, and I think that Denise will be looking for something to do pretty soon, so we can send her over there to rep the family if they get distribution. And, some people know who Denise is, some won't, but Dev know who I'm talking about.
Of course. All right, let's go to the phone lines because we got Joe in Pittsburgh waiting on the line. Joe, you're in the war room. What's up?
Hey, I agree with the gentleman that said if this was in the 1980s, 1970s China, it would be a whole different story, and he'd be looking at a real punishment. This China's a totally different country than they were 30 years ago, and you have to look at, Trump's over there now in Asia, and they're negotiating, billions, trillions of dollars deals. Talking about North Korea, China doesn't care about this. If anything, they can use it as a bargaining chip, as a good look good, as far as the international community.
Great point. Great. I agree totally. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking 80s China, we're talking, something maybe really worrisome for Jello. But the one thing I do find interesting is LeVar Ball will not give in to anyone. He will not apologize to anyone, no matter what his kids he says, and it's kind of entertaining to me. I really, never took the guy, serious.
I know. It's hugely entertaining.
To heart, but he's a character, and I enjoy it. I think it's funny, and he did say at the beginning of the year. Guaranteed the Lakers would go to the playoffs, and they're 5-6, and they could sneak into the 8th seed. I mean, they came back from 20+ to the Celtics and put up a game last night. you know. But the one thing I do worry about is Jello on the road in the Pac-12. He's going to take a beating by some of those fans on the road.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's going to come back and get him. They're going to torture him on the road in the Pac-12.
And just like Jimmy said, the jokes pretty much write themselves too. So he's going to see all kinds of signs, and yeah, it's going to be crazy.
So he better be ready to put out and be a legitimate player and really come out every single game and give it 100% because he's already has a target, and if he doesn't, he comes out and he's not nearly as good as his brother. He's really going to be better. That's all, guys. Thank you.
Oh, the ball's
all right, thank you, Joe.
The ball's
we appreciate your call. All right, now Joe made some very good points on this situation, man. I don't know, man. It's just like what are you thinking? Like, I'm pretty sure LeVar slapped him in the back of his head. But when it's all said and done, like you guys mentioned earlier, it's like we know LeVar. If he can get out of this thing unscathed, then LeVar's going to flip it and use it to his advantage somehow to become an international sneaker mogul. Well, an international sneaker pre-order mogul, because we still haven't seen any sneakers, but shout out to him and his business acumen all the same, because he still got y'all to pay him for nothing as of yet. Lonzo, when they asked him, he basically said, he hasn't really spoken to the family since everything came down. He said, my family's over in China taking care of that, and he's just focusing on what he needs to focus on.
Not scoring and getting bitched every day on the court.
I mean, if I'm Lonzo, I would have went ahead and used that as an excuse. Like, it's on my mind, man. Me and my brother tight. That's why I got this 9 point, 2 rebounds. But all right, it's a crazy situation, man. I'm pretty sure some more people will be calling in to talk about that. So we'll talk a little more about the big ball of trouble in Little China in a little while. But right now, we're going to go to the phone line. We're going to go to the Digital Extreme Tech hotline because we got Fred Perdue to talk to us about some college football for 5 good minutes. Fred, you are in the war room. Welcome back, good brother. What's going on?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
We're good. We good, man. Just talking about the stuff went on in China this week. But we're gonna shift.
Talking about balls in China.
How are we gonna shift the story, man? Before we jump to that, can you tell me how's LeVar gonna really flip that story because he comes out of it?
Hey, LeVar is from the school of if Jello gets off easy, LeVar is from the school of all publicity is good publicity. As long as y'all talking about the Ball family, he's gonna be good. He's gonna find a way to flip it. They're gonna put an image on a T-shirt of Jello standing in the Louis store in China or something. They're gonna do something.
Listen,
everybody trolling Nas.
This
is going to be a win. There's no way the balls come out of this salty.
Yeah, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for the Globe to be balls deep. So there's no way that this can fail.
All right, Fred, we got a quick segment.
Balls, man.
Yeah, we got a quick segment before they go off the rails. We're gonna shift this back to college football, and we just want to get your playoff ranking reactions and maybe a few predictions. The playoffs, basically, not only the top 4, but the top 5 stayed the same this week. So that's Georgia, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Clemson. If everything ended today, what are your predictions on that, though? Do you think that's going to end up staying the same? Who do you think is going to be in? Who do you think eventually is going to be out? What's your thoughts?
Well, initially, for me, when it comes to these playoff rankings, the first couple ones don't really matter too much, mainly because there's a lot of season to go. We have ACC, SEC, Big Ten title games, even though the Big Ten's kind of out of it at this point. Shout out to Ohio State and Penn State for just effing everything up. Good job, guys, in back-to-back weeks. But for me, when I look at it, this thing's it's gonna shake out just like it's supposed to every year, because every game for the rest of the year, there's gonna be a game that determines the next team losing out. Whether it's Georgia facing Auburn, and let's say if they lose to Auburn, well now Alabama may have a diminished win at some point, because we all know this is Georgia we're talking about, and this is Alabama. We know how I feel about Alabama. This is the Alabama Invitational, at least until we get to the second round of the playoff, which would be the national championship. But also, when you look at Notre Dame has to face a tough Miami team this weekend. We already know where my thoughts are on that one, so I'll leave y'all to figure that one out. But Clemson, they can also be affected going forward, because they have some games against a South Carolina team that's pretty tough on both sides of the ball. They may, if Miami keeps doing what they're doing, regardless of a win or loss against a Notre Dame team, they could face them in the ACC title game. So everyone has to kind of play everyone. The team that's left out of this is poor little Wisconsin, because unfortunately they scheduled teams like BYU years ago when BYU was rolling, and well, BYU's not doing too well right now. So you have a Wisconsin team that they're going to have to face potentially Ohio State, and it won't matter as much, because thanks to Iowa, Ohio State's gone. So they can't win for losing, no matter how good their schedule could have been, down the road, because we always look at the present.
They were basically stepping up like men to play the teams that were dominating at the time, and then, when these teams finally get on their long-term schedule, then they're not that good anymore, so it doesn't mean anything.
Exactly. And I hate the strength of schedule argument, because these teams schedule these games out 5-10 years in advance. You don't know if a team's going to be good or not. You play who's on your schedule and let the chips fall where they may. Right now, I really like Wisconsin's running game, and their quarterback, Alex Hornibrook, is really playing within himself. He's not a game manager, but with the way that their run game and their defense is playing, he doesn't have to do much. For me, right now with these rankings, I think you're going to see TCU potentially move up a little bit. Oklahoma and TCU have to play each other at some point, because by nature of the Big 12 championship game, you're going to have that. So that'll end there once somebody's season is over at that point. So as long as all of these teams keep winning, you're going to have a ton of teams. Somebody's going to lose. Somebody has to lose. Hopefully it's not the people in South Beach, but otherwise, it has to shake out. So the more we watch, I think we'll see a few different hosts and different characters. Exactly. Shout out to those guys. By the way, stadium's been sold out since Monday. Turnover chain is in full effect. But I think what I want to see, I want to see Alabama stay I want to see Alabama stay at 2. I want to see Georgia stay at 1. That way we have a 1-2 SEC title game. I want that game to be close. Because then we can get 2 SEC teams in. Because that way you see potentially maybe a Clemson, a very dominant Clemson defense can defend their title, and maybe we get Alabama Clemson 3 just for kicks and giggles, because as much as I love the U, I don't think they're ready.
What's that, Cleveland, Golden State? I don't want to see them again. Like Alabama, Clemson 3.
That game was. I need to see the tiebreaker, though. Even though there's no Deshaun Watson, I need to see who can split this tie and take their conference to dominance again.
Too much turnover in college football. Like, it loses its cachet to me, because it's not the same players. So I'm not interested in seeing that again. Hey, I'd rather see Catholics versus convicts. Let's do that again.
Well, we will definitely That'll be a very interesting moment. You'll know.
Then they can make an
my
addendum
emoji
to that 30 for 30, and add another part to it.
Exactly. I think I'm gonna just, instead of tweeting throughout the games this week, that specific game, I'm just gonna use emojis, and you can tell how I'm feeling going throughout that game. I think that's what I'll do.
All right, well that's what's up. Well, tell them where they can find your emojis this coming Saturday.
You can catch my Jordan crying face, and at some point, hopefully not, but you can catch me on Twitter, Fred Purdue CFP. On Twitter, I'll be tweeting throughout the day. It's some interesting matchups, so you can catch all of my breakdown of that over at Quick Slant, where I break some of that stuff down.
All right, Fred, thank you as usual for your time, and we will talk to you next week, good brother.
All right, guys, thanks for having me on.
No doubt. Fred Purdue, everybody, War Room Sports college football guru. Jimmy, you've been, as long as I've known you, you've been a huge Ric Flair fan. Tuesday night, they threw on the 30 for 30, the Nature Boy. I know, I didn't watch it when you guys watched it because, another shameless plug. If you're not in our War Room Sports Game Time group on the GroupMe app, you guys need to join that. So just grab that GroupMe app on your phone and then search War Room Sports Game Time. What we do, we talk sports 24/7. When there's big games on, we talk through the games. When there's big sports programming on, like the 30 for 30 on the Nature Boy, we talked through that as well. Now, I didn't get to talk with you guys live, but I watched it earlier today to get ready for the show. Now, being as big a Ric Flair fan as you've always been, Jimmy, did you learn anything about him that you didn't know? Besides the personal chronicles of him going broke and.
Yeah, I think that was the most intriguing thing to me, though, in terms of
how can Ric Flair go broke?
I grew up a wrestling fan, right? So anything in terms of all the ring stuff, and there's been so many documentaries and things about wrestling that I sit around and watch, even as a grown man, because I'm still a kid at heart. So you know about a lot of the in-ring things, but a lot of the personal stuff, it was I was shocked that he's that way. First of all, you realize that he's just as bad as a father as Magic Johnson, but terrible husband, terrible father.
Right.
Basically,
he was out in the streets shirking his responsibility while out there working on a half a wilt. He put up a half a wilt. He put up a half a wilt, pulled on camera, and said he's been married 4 times, but he's been monogamous one day his entire life. Said he had 4 or 5 women a night. And this is the thing. I think what happened with Ric Flair, his downfall was the fact that the character that he made for himself in the wrestling world, he basically bishoped himself. He turned into that character that he was wrestling. I mean, he even told you himself. He said, because we used to love Ric Flair for his entertainment value. He'd get on the microphone and start spitting stuff at you, not rhymes. He wasn't on his Cassius Clay, but he was still fast talking and bragging and telling you everything he did. And he said if he said it, he did it. So when he told you, he had 4 or 5 women a night, and, jet riding, limo driving, everything he said he lived it. You know what I'm saying? So limo driving. That, to me, was a big part of his downfall, and the fact that he wasn't the man that he was supposed to be to his family because he was out here living his bishop character.
It was not funny. What's interesting to me is, as I was watching this, I was like, it's really something psychological with this whole thing. And someone sent me a clip earlier. Stone Cold Steve Austin has his own podcast, like everybody in the world does. And it was a clip from him talking about how he felt watching it because he idolized Flair too. And he made a comment saying something along the lines of, I wish I could have sat down with a psychiatrist and watched this to see their response, because this was like a psychologist's dream. It was so much going on because in terms of being abandoned by family. So several times throughout this episode, he talked about a lot of times why he slept with so many women is because he was afraid to literally be alone with himself. Boy had a fear of being alone. So if he was on the road, he was like, I got no choice but to hook up with a chick. I'm not sleeping alone. Boy was literally scared to be alone. So it's some deep trauma there. No comments. Some deep. Yo, stop.
Travel can get real lonely.
Yo, no comment. I am not incriminating nobody, or you know what I mean. You will not mellow ball. No mellow balls, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Relax.
Listen, though, I just want y'all to know Houston. I'm traveling to Houston in February. But anyway, listen, though. So while watching this thing,
sharing them mellow balls while I'm down there.
Yo.
Balls deep.
Yo. Trying to get these balls locked up. Like, never mind. Listen, so I thought it was an interesting documentary. But it definitely was a lot to it. I kind of felt bad for him afterwards. Like, I went into this thing like Flair's the man and all that, and at the end of it, I was like, yo, I feel bad for him. You put up half a will. You made millions, but your life is still miserable.
Right, but you alienated your family. You know, as his son, even though Rick wasn't really there like that, still wanted to be just like him. Son passes away, so your daughter ends up doing what you do, really not because of you, but because of your son living his dream. Like it was a sad story.
It was sad, but it was crazy thing to me is like hearing Stone Cold and even Hulk Hogan talk about him and the way they do, because a lot of people consider them two to be like the greatest. But to hear them basically be like, no, I ain't Ish. He's that guy. Even Hulk Hogan, Hulk Hogan is like the face of the whole thing. And even him, he was like, yo, I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm not as good as him at all.
Right.
Like, and for him to give it up the way he gave it up, I was like, yo, that's crazy. And,
I mean, Ric Flair,
to show you,
he had flair, no pun intended, but he had flair.
But it goes to show you, right? It goes to show you all the things we chase, right? The fame, the money, inside. Yo, when you watch at the end, you're like, your life's still sad. You got
trash.
You put up half a will. You put up half a will. You made millions, and your life's still trash, B.
Don't nobody love me. Yeah. Shout out to Shawn Michaels for whispering to him that he loved him and he's sorry before he kicked him in his chin. And what he thought was supposed to be his last time in the ring, but dude just could not give it up. And then when you run it, it's like most people, when they've done something all their lives that's made them a lot of money, and they're not handling their money right, and you get old, you always got that thought in your mind, like, man, a couple more appearances in the ring could get my taxes right for this year, get my money right.
Roy Jones.
So he was like way too old to still be doing what he was doing, but. Yeah, it was a very interesting story, man. Once again, kudos to the Four Letter Network for another spectacular 30 for 30. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
30 for 30, literally, in my opinion. Now, this is just me. I grew up as a guy who literally used to watch ESPN day in and day out, to the point where when you get up, you cut on ESPN, and before you go to bed, you put on ESPN. And with the advent of the internet and everything, it got to the point where when I cut on ESPN, I already knew what happened because of Twitter. So I just didn't watch ESPN at all, to be honest with you, like not at all, because the news was late by the time they gave it to me. Pause. So 30 for 30 is the only reason I can literally have the channel and go back and watch, because a lot of the 30 for 30s are great to the point where they can have a 30 for 30 about the greatest badminton player, and somehow I'm still sitting there watching it and intrigued.
Yeah, it's intriguing. It's engaging. It's engaging because it gives you, I think what they do a great job of is humanizing the character and separating, the larger than life figure from the human being, and you relate to the human being. And the other thing is the engaging nature of the stories, because we're already interested. Like, low key, if you grew up in the 70s and 80s and you didn't want to be Ric Flair at some point, you gay.
Oh. Listen, but it's to the point, right? It's to the point where ESPN has all their shows podcasts, right? All of them.
All of them.
And
yeah.
the only one they did. We was there first, and they tried to hire us, but that's either here nor there. But listen though, the only one that I actually listen to is they have a 30 podcast short. Like 30 for 30 is literally the best thing going for that network. So what Dev said, salute to them for that because, they're continuously putting out great content.
Shout out to the brother Keith Clinkscales, a name that not a lot of people know, but you wouldn't have 30 for 30 if it wasn't for this name that you don't know. So shout out to him.
Yeah. Keith and
what I was
Keith
talking about
Simmons
earlier, I found shout out to the homie Ronald Glover from the Starting Five. He posted something kind of like what I was trying to say about Flair. He said the saddest part of Ric Flair's life is that he morphed his character into an actual being, which left him emotionally detached from things we should hold close to us. When it came time for his character to play that role, there was little left to salvage. So he said that way better than I said.
So he said that a lot better than we did. We said the same thing, but he just barred it up. He three-0'd me on that one. He bodied me. Yo, boy, just kind of how he coached what I said. But
that's what I was trying to say. What he said.
What he said.
Real quick though, to the point of 30 for 30 being crazy. Yo, do y'all realize Ice Cube did a 30 for 30 about Raider hats?
Yo, and
we sat there and watched it too. We sat there and watched it.
Yo, speaking of Raiders, shout out to Skyview One in the chat room when we were talking about the Ball family. He put Big Bell Bondsman for BBB. Then he put Beijing Bell Bondsman. So the logo could be jumping over a jail cell dunking. The jokes write themselves.
Write themselves, man. They definitely write themselves. But how many of y'all, for those listening on the podcast, how many of y'all sat there and watched the whole documentary about Raiders hats?
I did. I'm embarrassed to say that's one of the main ones that I watched too.
Yo, oh my God.
Oh man,
that's hilarious. Yo, anyway, man, crazy, cuz
right. I don't know what happened there. Mic check 1 2. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know what the H happened, yo.
What happened?
Mic check 1 2.
Yeah, we hear you.
Def, you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Yo, I think North Korea hijacked our show or something, yo.
What the bumbleclap?
What is going on here? Skyview, can you hear us?
Mic check, mic check 1 2. One, two. 1 2.
I hear you. B. Austin, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you fine.
All right, man, you here? I guess I gotta see if the people can hear us. Skyview, you can hear us, right? You hear me and B. Austin?
I hear Dev. I heard Dev as well.
I heard Dev too, but he bounced. But anyway, man, let's keep rapping about pretty much not Raider hats, but the whole Ric Flair thing, man. So B. Austin, if you haven't seen that yet, you gotta take a look at it because it's amazing. Like to watch the highs and lows. You watch his whole life and then realize at the end that the one thing he didn't want, he ended up with anyway because he alienated everybody. So it is what it is. Anyway, man, so much going on in the world of sports. Your man Colin Kaepernick was invited to a meeting with the commissioner, Roger Goodell.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Warren Moon made some comments about Colin Kaepernick as well. I saw the article. I didn't want to click on it because to me, Warren Moon is the greatest quarterback to ever live. So
I'm afraid.
I was afraid of what he would say. But he didn't say anything too bad. What he said basically was, by Colin Kaepernick filing that lawsuit, that he's essentially saying, "Yo, I'm not playing in this league."
Yeah.
So I can't disagree with that. But what do you think about him sitting down with the commissioner? What would be the point of it? Like, at this point, like, why would he do it, and what could come from it?
On one hand, there's three pieces to that, or three things. Number one, there's the side that stands with don't do it, because what do you really stand to gain, and what are you going to stand on? What is your platform in meeting with the owner of the NFL? And the problem that I have is because the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar machine, that can literally invest $1 billion into fighting Colin Kaepernick from a PR and a publicity standpoint. I'm fearful if he tries to play that game. It's better off to not address them directly, right? Then the second point is go meet with him, have news media and reporters there to document it, and stand heavy on everything that you have ever stated as being your platform and reason for protest directly to the commissioner in front of the world, and then it's out there for everybody to make a choice as they have been anyway. Then it's clear cut and dry. The third piece, which is unlikely but still a possibility, if Goodell somehow alludes to or infers that he can get Colin Kaepernick a job if he just calms down. In other words, if, after 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness, the serpent comes to Colin and offers him the world, then we know that there was collusion and there is the case actually made.
Right. If he can do something
I don't
about
think
it,
that'll happen.
Something happen.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. But there's a sliver of a possibility if Goodell for some reason slips up and says, I can offer you a gig if you change this, if you lead this, if you do this, then that's Colin's case made for him, and he can up that suit to whatever number. I don't think that will happen, so that's kind of two opposite. 1 and 3 are opposite ends of the spectrum. The middle is go there, have the meeting, and stand on the platform for everything that you've been standing on, which is, just to remind people, the mistreatment of African American people by police, the brutalizing of black people in the United States of America by law enforcement, the mistreatment of black people by a institutional racist power structure. That's what Colin
I don't know
Kaepernick
if you mentioned it before, but the meeting hasn't gone down yet. The meeting fell through because the league rejected a request from Kaepernick's attorney for a mediator to be present.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what exactly they were planning to get out of this, but what you said makes sense. And if he can leave with, if he can make an offer, like I can make sure you can get a job then we know Colin Kaepernick was right all along with the charge of collusion. Yeah, pretty much. It's just something difficult to prove. And, they've been basically getting phone records and text records from owners in the league and stuff like that, but they're not going to get anything from that. And I think they kind of know that. But before we move forward, because I was trying to get him on before we were having the
hopefully they don't subpoena our group text.
Forever, for no reason whatsoever.
For anything. Yo,
it'll be Hollywood all over.
TMZ Hank is in one of our group chats, so you already know how crazy that is.
Last point I wanted to make is, among other things, Colin Kaepernick's legal counsel is alleged to be or said to be a wizard at deposing people at deposition. So there is a very real fear while, subpoenaing phone records, text records, all that isn't going to unearth anything. There is a real fear amongst the owners that if he has cause and the ability to do a deposition against one or several of them, something could come out. So there's a real fear there. Now, I don't know under what grounds he would be able to do that, but there's a fear there.
All right, we'll revisit. We got Gus Griffin on the line to talk his NFL investment picks of the week.
Gus.
What's going on, good brother?
How y'all doing?
We're doing fine. How you doing? Sitting at 17-20-1. So you didn't have a bad week last week. You just, didn't catch up.
No, that's 2-1. I think Jameson doesn't go out. I think I had a chance at getting that over and maybe been 3-0, but that's the way it works.
Yeah, no doubt. So we're going to start this one with an over-under. We got Washington versus the Minnesota Vikings at 42.5.
Yeah, I'm taking the under there. Two good defenses. Vikings are one of the best under teams in the league. I'm taking the under there.
Yeah,
I agree.
That sounds like a smart pick to
With
me
Teddy,
as well.
Teddy Bridgewater involved.
Then we got the Colts plus 10 versus the Steelers.
I'm a Steelers fan, but this is a good example of how you can't be emotional when you do this. You got to be able to divest. I'm not saying the Colts going to win, but I also know, being a big Steelers fan, that under Tomlin, we have been notorious at playing down to our competition. And so, and I also always like to look at the biggest home underdog. Oftentimes that's kind of presented out there as a gimme, and it's not uncommon for it to come. And historically, matter of fact, double-digit underdogs cover about 62% of the time. So that's not a small number. So I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, there's been a lot of blowouts in the NFL this season, but 10, that's kind of disrespectful to anybody.
For a home team,
it's like playing a college team.
All right, exactly. Now we were going to talk about the line on that Cowboys game, but we're not doing that. But you did want to say something about that line, didn't you?
Yeah. Earlier in the week, I looked at that line, and I was shocked to see that the Falcons were -3 at the beginning of the week. And I said,
right,
something stinks there. That doesn't quite make sense. The Cowboys are hitting on all cylinders right now. The Falcons haven't. Their offense has been MIA for the last month or so. So it didn't make any football sense. But one thing you got to remember: high brand teams, the Cowboys, the Steelers, the Patriots, and Giants. You got to always be careful with their lines, because the odds makers know that that's a bigger market, that's a bigger set of customers, and they tend to vote with their team even if it doesn't make football sense. So my guess is that a lot of teams, a lot of fans took the Cowboys in the 3 points. I would have done it, and ran with it. And today, as you know, we hear that Ezekiel is going to be gone, and for a Hail Mary, it's going to stick this time. It's going to stick.
Maybe
so
they find a judge on Sunday morning to come to his chambers and make a ruling.
Exactly. now, what that tells me, though, is that the Vegas insiders, they knew that ruling and how it was going to come out before they put that line out. That's the only explanation for that line. That's the only explanation for it. So I'm going to leave the game alone altogether. And I think the last one I got there is the Bills. No, I got two more. The Bills +3 against the Saints. I think the Saints are going to finally lose one there. The Bills are a good home team. I've been pretty good with the Bills so far this year, except the Raiders. They just screwed me on them. But other than that.
All right, and then we got the Rams at 28.5.
Yeah, Rams over. That's a single over and under team. Rams over 28.5. I'd like to take the over 46.5 for the game, but you can't trust what the Texans are going to give you with that savage offense they have.
I see what you
so
did
I'm just
there.
taking the Rams over 28.5.
Yeah, the Rams, they score points this season. I mean, McVay has the offense hitting on all cylinders, so I think that's a pretty safe bet as well. If Deshaun Watson was still in the fold, that game line would be a no-brainer. I'd take it over 55 if he was.
Exactly. It'd be in the low 50s at least, that over and under. He'd be worth at least a touchdown.
All right. Well, there are your investment picks for the week. Where you at?
One thing. I'm in Sacramento. I just got back last night from Phoenix and then off to Colorado next week. Actually, I'll be in Denver when I call you next week. So if things go bad, I can go back to the old travel thing.
That damn jet lag. All right, but you said one more thing.
Right.
What you got?
Yeah, just check out my last column on the Ezekiel Elliott piece. It came out this past, I guess, what was the weekend, Devin?
Yes. I will do another round, another blast on that, since that's a story that's relevant this week. It's probably going to be relevant throughout the rest of the season. So, you guys go to warroomsports.com, click on the blog tab, and you can see Gus's article on Ezekiel Elliott and this suspension situation. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you go out and make your investments. And Gus, we will talk to you next week.
All right, gentlemen. Enjoy.
All right. Thank you. Gus Griffin, everybody. War Room Sports investment expert. NFL investment expert.
Diversify your portfolio. You need some losses for the tax benefits.
All right, so you hit on the Roger Goodell.
Hey hey Austin, you still there, right?
I sure am. His brother.
I don't know what's going on with that. I think he got kidnapped by the Chinese government for all these jokes, man.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on with
yeah, man, they trying to ball me up.
Yo, stop breaking my man's balls, man. Stop breaking his balls.
I don't know what's going on here. All right, but what I was about to ask you guys about was Jerry Jones is threatening to sue the NFL, and his lawsuit will be based on Roger Goodell, getting his extension, which Jerry Jones initially voted for him to get. So, what's with him?
This is the definition of privilege and entitlement. I'm not even going to go with the white supremacist angle because it's beyond. This is billionaire privilege and entitlement, because if you look throughout the course of recent history, Jerry Jones has been a staunch supporter of Roger Goodell in his rulings against the Patriots, in his handling of just about everything, even the snafus on Goodell's part in Baltimore and with Josh Brown, the kicker. Even in those situations, Jerry Jones has stood behind Roger Goodell, been a friend to him, been a supporter. This boils down to two things and two things only. Number one, Ezekiel Elliott. He's upset that his running back is under duress and can be taken from him for 6 games. And he doesn't like when one of his Negroes is taken out of his fold and off of his plantation. He pays good money for his Negroes. The second piece to this is the kneeling. So initially, this is through the timeline, and I can't give you exact dates, but it as far as sequential order, this is the way it played out. Roger Goodell went to the owners and said, we as a league and an association cannot stand against the players' rights to protest and kneel. We can't. Then, through some pressure and some meetings, Roger Goodell folded and decided that he was going to blast out to the league, no more kneeling, no more desecration of the flag and disrespect of our armed forces. The players came back and said, hell to the no. Listen, we already compromising ourselves because we come from the places, by and large, at least 72 to 74% of them, from the places where a lot of these atrocities are being committed, where there are disenfranchised youth and people being brutalized by law enforcement. So we come from that demographic and that segment of the population. Some of us, not the large majority, but some of us are going to double down and we're going to continue kneeling. Pressure. Roger Goodell relents and backs off and allows them to continue protesting at the league level. Now, certain team owners stood up and told their Negroes and their property that they could not kneel and could not protest but that was at the team level. At the league level, Roger Goodell relented and kind of softens on his position and stand. This entire while, Jerry Jones has been 100% down with President 45 in saying that no Negroes and no players should be protesting, kneeling, doing any. They better stand, and they should stand. And there's no one on my team that would get caught dead kneeling and supporting Colin Kaepernick and these black rights and fight against. Nah, we're not having that in Dallas Cowboy land. Roger, his meetings with Roger and communication with Roger has been get this under control because we are seeing some semblance of impact to ratings and revenue. Get it under control. All 32 owners have stated that they are in alliance and in accord with you got to stop this, Roger Goodell. This kneeling, this protest, our largest, richest demographic that of consumers is angered by this. They don't want to see this with their football. This is wrong. Clean it up. So Jerry is leveraging that fact.
So how serious do you think his threat is? Because he went out and hired David Weiss. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's that lawyer who he represented Al Gore in the 2000 presidential election when W was cheating. He also represented the NFL in their dispute over the 2011 collective bargaining agreement. He also represented Harvey Weinstein, who now faces all that stuff we talked about in the open. So this is basically somebody that people call when they call in the big guns. So I don't know if Jerry Jones is doing this as a threat to get Roger Goodell or get the other owners to maybe stand down and vote and change their minds with him about extending Roger Goodell, or if he, or if these are just empty threats. But
it isn't an empty threat, I don't believe, because Jerry Jones has the money to where he doesn't have to make things empty threats. He can invest $100,000 a month into retaining an attorney like this, so that he just has him on retainer and ready, so that it can go from threat to action. It can go from plausible option to executed and implemented plan.
But as of yet, Jerry Jones hasn't even identified the grounds of a potential lawsuit. Somebody said that he's exploring whether the requirement that 2/3 of the owners, that has to approve the commissioner's contract could be increased.
He's trying to move it.
Yeah, he's trying to move that. Yeah, that's crazy though, because this is one of the dudes like Roger Goodell was his boy.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. But you see how the privileged, like you said earlier, you see how the privileged act when something hits home. Like he wasn't down on Roger Goodell. He was voting for him after he pressed the issue with Tom Brady and his 6-game suspension.
And
now
that
Ezekiel's involved.
Supported him in the Deflategate.
Yeah, and was all on the bandwagon of nobody's bigger than the game, even though this was the great Tom Brady. But now when it's one of your players receiving the same number of games,
right,
and is hitting home, is a whole different thing. You probably figured, I supported you.
I gave you the two reasons, but the larger of those reasons is the one that you chose to talk about and focus on, which is Ezekiel Elliott. The kneeling thing, he's actually he's angry at Goodell about that, but he's actually using that as support.
Yeah, he's using that because that hits home for some of the other owners as well. So he can use that to get support.
It's really about what
he's really mad about. Yeah,
we know about Ezekiel Elliott. So the compromise in this, because most of the owners do realize that Roger Goodell is a hell of a commissioner when it comes to representing their interests, have now gone back with a counter and said, we're going to work to get Jerry off your back, but instead of this $44 million a year that you receive, let's chop that considerably. as I've heard, by more than half, and we're gonna hit you with an incentive-laden contract where you can earn this 44 back plus more, but it's tied to the performance of the league, which they know, and Goodell knows that to right the ship and improve the revenue, that can't happen in just a year, because this is an ocean liner, the largest of ocean-going vessels, and it takes 10 miles to stop and 5 to 7 miles to turn. So he knows, and so he's irate now. So Roger Goodell is irate at the counter, which is, we'll get Jerry off your back, but you got to take this deal which saves us more than half your salary. And now you got two opposing, it's a mess. It's about to get ugly. Oh, it's about to really be ugly. It's going to get ugly.
My bad.
Oh, you're fine.
All right.
It is going to get ugly.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting situation, man. And it's just crazy to see people flip like that. But look, man, stat of the week. Let's talk about that real quick before we get into some grind topics, some birthday shout outs, and some of this thing of ours in the NBA. Speaking of that, the stat of the week is from this thing of ours. And I just want to ask you guys, because it's been going around on Sunday when James Harden put that crazy line up.
Get a line.
Who are they playing? When he had 56 and 13 assists in the win over the Jazz. There's some analytics guys out there who are saying James Harden, that was like the greatest performance in NBA history. Now, of course, they broke that down by the numbers to say so, but any of you guys agree, before I even get into that breakdown, that this was the greatest offensive performance in NBA history?
Wilt scored 100 and really scored 20,000, and I saw Kobe drop 81. Get the F out of here.
So, nah. That's what you're saying.
The F out of here.
All right. So these are the reasons that they're saying that.
I was just talking to either like Wilt scored 100, simple as
So, all right. So, James Harden, he scored 56 points. He went 19 of 25 from the floor, which is 76%. He also dished out 13 assists. The Rockets won 137-110 over the Jazz. They said his point total was the highest ever by an NBA player who had as many as 13 assists in a regular season or a playoff game. The previous high was 53 points by Wilt Chamberlain, who had 14 assists in the game, and by Harden, who had 17 assists last year on New Year's Eve. They said the only other players to ever shoot 75% or better from the field while taking 20-plus shots and distributing at least a dozen assists in a game are all in the Hall of Fame. Wilt Chamberlain did it 3 times, Magic Johnson twice, Isaiah Thomas, the real Zeke, Charles Barkley, and Clyde Drexler. Drexler was the last to do so against Denver in November of 1990 when he went 18 for 22 from the field with 12 assists. So they're asking the same questions as you guys. They said, but is that enough to give him the title of greatest offensive output ever? Because we have Kobe Bryant's 81 and we have Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. So this is a question for me. This is one of those questions for like the straight up stat nerds. Like if you're just going to say, okay, he did it on 76% shooting and he dished out this many assists, then analytically, the answer could be yeah. But no, there's old dudes out there who saw dudes score 100, who saw Sasquatch do that. And then there's guys our age who saw a dude score 81 points. Like,
That's a
no
guard.
matter what
I think
he
that,
shot from the field and how many assists he dished out. To me, it just like I can't say it's the greatest because even though James Harden was balling, like just some things are more entertaining than the others. Everything isn't about, pure and deep analytics. Right? Like the eye test still means something.
I think that
I'm an old dinosaur.
I think that with basketball, definitely, soccer, definitely, and to a lesser degree, even American football, there's an artistic value to the individual expression that happens within great performances. And that is also tied to great players, which, by the way, I'm borderline on what I've seen from James Harden over the course of the last 2 seasons on saying he may be headed to the Hall of Fame. I got to see a lot more in terms of playoffs.
He probably is.
But as far as the regular season, like offensively, yo, dude is damn near perfect. Like he's damn near perfect.
Doing no playoffs. Now I can even say that. I know y'all be dissing my man, but T-Mac in. So the Hall of Fame ain't got nothing to do with no playoffs.
Go ahead, Jimmy. Tell Dev what T-Mac is, man. Tell him.
Jimmy ain't got to tell me what he thinks.
No, I got no standard for T-Mac. In terms of the Hall of Fame, the way the league is now, I think James Harden is a Hall of Famer right this second.
Yeah.
Not saying I would put him in, but how it's currently constituted. In terms of his performance, I think it's one of the better performances. But for me, I wouldn't rank it up there because I watched the game, and the game just didn't have any moments. And I know that sounds crazy because you can break things down statistically, but I think there's multiple parts to it. Historically, no one will ever remember this. Like, Wilt 100 was like a moment. Even Kobe's 81 was a moment. Like, this one didn't really have any moments. And I know that sounds crazy because if you want to go pure stats, there's probably a lot of offensive performances that will probably be top 10 from a pure statistic standpoint, but it didn't have that moment to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I called y'all for 5 years after dude dropped 81 and told y'all that dude dropped 81.
And when he dropped 81, you ain't even like it.
Kobe. You were a Kobe hater.
That dude dropped 81.
Kobe scored 81, and you stopped talking greasy about him. It's one of those things where it just wasn't any moments. And I watched the game, and he was getting off. It was crazy. And I'm like, it's just really not a moment here.
You're trying to get me.
That would make I see him trying to get you done. I see him get you. You know what I mean? But anyway, it just didn't really have any moments to it. So for me, I can't put it up there. There's other performances that were amazing. Like, I remember watching Mike playing in the Garden when he put up those crazy points, and they lost. And it still was one of the best offensive performances I've ever seen. Like,
the 63.
It was a moment. I remember seeing Isaiah limp out there on the real league and had one of the best offensive performances I've seen. Statistically speaking, it probably wouldn't be up there. But to me,
there was no drama.
It's a combination of art and science, and I think that's the issue. When you talk about from a pure data science standpoint, you can say a lot of things.
Basketball has never been data and science. I mean, it is, but now those nerds are trying to infest the game with it.
I think it is. No. I understand. What I'm saying is the point I want to make is I think basketball is a combination of data and science, which is what makes it beautiful because there's not more one than the other. But the problem is some people try to lean too hard towards the one side.
Towards no balance. You lose balance.
Yeah, it's all about balance, right? So, I mean, if you think of any sport, like when we were coming up, baseball was more the one that, like, leaned heavily on science as opposed to art.
Yeah, I don't know nothing.
But even in baseball, there's art in pitching. I mean, I'm just saying it has, like, because baseball is all about numbers. Basketball is all about numbers too, but there's also a certain art to it.
Like,
yeah, no doubt.
When you get down to player analysis, statistically, when you look at efficiency, you're going to say that AI is not necessarily top 10 of all time. But having seen him play and witnessed the pressure and the art to when he had those moments, as you're calling them, Jimmy, we know that dude is top 15 at least. I say top 10 of all time.
Yeah, I don't know how on God's green earth you made this about Bubba Jeff, but you did.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you started talking about those moments and signature moments in games, and I think he was one of those dudes that brought about a lot of signature moments in games because there were times when 5 players were trying to stop one dude that was 5'10" and 140 pounds.
Hey, Jimmy,
think about this.
Jimmy, look in the chat room. Just look in the chat room. Yeah.
I know they was going off in the chat room. Hold up.
It's not that. Just go in the chat room and try to type Eric Dickerson. Yo, they drawing. Yo, we gotta get off this anyway. But yo, they censor Dickerson. Like it changes it to star Earth Sun. Like, you.
Yo.
Shout out to Black Phoenix and Skyview for making me even notice that. All right, look, but because we getting short on time, so you guys check out our website at warroomsports.com. For general inquiries, you can email us at info@warroomsports.com. But right now, during the show, you can jump into that chat room as well with Black Phoenix and Skyview 1 if you want to rap about what's going on, the topics that we're talking about. To do that, all you got to do is sign up for a free profile on Blog Talk Radio. If you don't have one or if you don't want one, you can sign into your Facebook and Twitter accounts, and while you're at it, make sure you click follow because that'll give you updates and reminders about the show. But we'll be taking questions, reading posts from Facebook, Twitter, the chat room, and the War Room Sports Game Time group on the GroupMe app during the show. But if you want to call in and speak with us, dial the Digital Extreme Tech hotline. That's 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. And we're going to open the Digital Extreme Tech hotline back up in about 5 minutes. So if you're already on there waiting, just bear with us for a second because we're about to let you guys know what happened this week while y'all were on the grind. And on the grind, as usual, brought to you by DirecTV. If you'd like a better TV experience than cable has to offer, including some of the most extensive sports packages offered by any service, go to directtv.com. Order yourself a better TV experience. If you call yourself a sports fan, then you got to have DirecTV. Miko Grimes, y'all girl, she is back in the news. This time for what people are calling a very reckless claim against the Oakland Raiders. And we actually heard this because we are loyal listeners to the Breakfast Club. Shout out to Charlamagne, Envy, and Angela Yee. Some people be calling her Angela Lee, the ghetto cats that be on there. But she was on the Breakfast Club, and she started talking about the situation in Oakland with the quarterback David Carr getting injured earlier in the year. And she said, basically, in a nutshell, said that wasn't a mistake. She said David Carr is a Bible thumper, and they got into an argument in the locker room prior to a game about guys who wanted to kneel, and David Carr did not want them to kneel. So supposedly, there was an altercation in the locker room, and to get their paybacks, the offensive line decided that they were going to let him take a few hits. Ultimately, he ended up getting injured. Story sounded a little far-fetched when I heard it, but anything's possible these days.
Possible.
Now the backlash is coming. There's a bunch of Raiders and the Raider offensive linemen who are tweeting that, they were basically lies and people will do anything to be relevant and to get attention. Donald Penn said it's crazy how people will make up lies and tell a story so false and untrue to get some attention. I hope it was worth it. All lies. And then Miko basically came out and said the Breakfast Club edited what she was saying to make it sound like fact. I kind of thought that was a bad cop-out from somebody who's, their whole MO is they speak their mind, they don't care about what people say. I listened to the episode. Like, there was even a portion while she was telling that story where DJ Envy made sure to tell her to say allegedly while she was saying all of that. So she repeated that because he told her to, but she most certainly tried to pass this off as fact. So I don't really know why she's kind of backtracking on that now. So what did you guys think when you heard it, when you heard her say it? Because I know you guys listen to the Breakfast Club as well. And then once the backlash came, like Miko going the other way on that, like that was kind of surprising.
Here's the thing. First off, I believe there's some truth to it. Because if nothing else, it's the Raiders, and so there's some truth to it. The second thing is, I don't think that she recognized their reach and the kind of response she would get. So I think she kind of played herself. She was looking for attention. She said something which may have had truth to it. And the way that people started coming at her, she wasn't prepared for it at all. So then she tried to backtrack. When she backtracked and she said that, like, I also heard what their response was.
She's not prepared, though. Like, her whole MO is making controversial comments. People come at her all the time.
It's about the reach, though.
It's a difference between making controversial comments to your couple thousand followers and you make a controversial comment on a nationally syndicated show and it gets picked up by TMZ and every sports site what you said. Like,
you're right, because there were probably a lot of listeners to the Breakfast Club probably like, who the hell is Miko Grimes? Why is she in the Breakfast Club?
But I don't think she recognized what she said would grow legs the way it did. TMZ picked it up, sports blogs picked it up, and
they ran.
Oh, she on the wrong program though. You say something on the Breakfast Club, it's out there.
Exactly, and the fact of the matter is, you're talking about one of the teams with a bigger fan base. Like, there's a such thing called Raider Nation. That's real. So if you look at her,
she said F Raider Nation, by the way, when she was defending.
she went from getting like a couple hate Jones here and there to her jump going straight Jamel. Like, and you know what I mean by that. Her mentions going straight Jamel. So to the point where she even making her account private, like for a second, like she went from public. And I heard what Charlamagne said in terms of, he said he spoke to her. What she was trying to say is, when she was on the show, she said something about someone came on her podcast and gave her the story, and they didn't play that part. They made it, she ran with it essentially, and that's the part she said that they didn't play or whatever. But he said he's the one that told her, like, if you say something, you got to stand by it. Like, what are you doing? Like, running? Like, you said it, now stand by it.
Do you remember when we used to get into heated debates in a email thread, and every now and again there was a wild little idiot bull, and he would take a position that I may agree with, but because of his reputation and the way he chose to communicate, there's no way that I could stand beside idiot bull because I just can't be associated with his brand of communication and thinking. Right. That's kind of how I feel about Miko Grimes. There are things that she says that I do believe have some truth, if not are all truth. But she does damage to her own credibility, and people can't take her seriously because she decides to be so brash and abrasive and downright ignorant that it discredits her when she is saying something of substance and truth. And that's why, like, you don't mistake being frank and honest for being ignorant and assholeish. Like, they're two different things. And I think people will say, I'm just keeping it real, I'm just being honest. No, you're not being just honest, you're being just assholeish. Like, you don't have to be.
In this case, though, when she said she wasn't being asshole with this case.
But that's her reputation.
No, but he said her credibility is shot because of the way that she's, because she usually carries herself like that.
So I just.
And she was kind of being a-hole-ish and when she was telling this story as well. No, but I agree with y'all. Like, I don't doubt for 1 second that something, at least an argument happened over who was going to kneel and who wasn't. I don't doubt that for 1 second. But then when you get into, those guys purposely, didn't block so he could get injured, that's when you're like, it takes a lot of heart for somebody to do that, and at least for, them to do it and tell anybody about it so that it has the possibility of growing legs like this, because at that point, you're messing with Masa's property. You're messing with his $100 million quarterback.
I think that goes on. I think that goes on more than we know. Like, you can't tell me. I know a couple of times the Eagles did that to Donovan. Like yo, that happened.
B. Austin put the call in.
There were actual rumors about that. Like, so. I mean, I think it happens at times. I think it does happen at times. Like, because quarterbacks are divas. They're not wide receiver divas, but they're still divas nonetheless. And sometimes you got to, straighten them out or whatever. But in terms of her and her brand or whatever, I I think her brand has a certain value to it because she created that. And I think that her husband is allowing her to brand it because I know that he probably ain't got no bread left because most athletes just don't have bread.
Yeah,
most athletes don't have bread.
And
the thing is, though, if you hear him talking, the work is like
he ain't in China. He ain't got no balls.
I've seen him stand there quietly while his wife argued with a 6'5", 250-pound dude. So yeah, he
all that means he got another chick. But anyway, that's all that means. But my point is, with this whole story, though, I just found it interesting because it is the Raiders. So, it's true. Shout out to Skyview in the chat room. Your team is ass, even though I don't even watch football. But, how she handled it was kind of whack. But I think that she's learning through this because, her job is to have communications, get into communications.
Learning through this, Really? You think Nico Grimes is learning from this?
We got two Raider fans in the chat room right now. Shout out to Black Phoenix and Skyview.
Yeah, but you said, do I think she's learning, B. Austin?
Learning, yeah, Nico Grimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when she ran the way she ran, and after the board gave her the pep talk, the way she came back with the whole F-rated nation thing, I think that she's learning in terms of how she's going to move forward in whether it's her podcast or TV show or whatever. She's going to get opportunities because of that brand that she's built, whether we like it or not, because in 2017, it's about attention, and she has a tendency to get attention.
When the conversation goes there to, what it's about in 2017, and I don't care nothing about that. Right or wrong, there is no gray for me, and she's a noodle because of the way. I think there's room to be an a-hole, but still maintain your credibility. I think that we do it. I think that Charlamagne the God kind of pulls it off. I think what she does crosses the line so frequently that you can't take her serious. It's not, what she can sell to, and what she can sell to is the same crowd that's a little higher than Welvin can sell to, or A+.
I hear what you're saying, and with all due respect, you're saying that basically you don't care. You don't care about what goes on because you have certain principles and things that you stand by, and that's fine. And I think we all do, but we still have to talk about what reality is. And reality is
reality is the erosion of principle, and the erosion of principle leads to a whole bunch of low character individuals. So I'm not, what I'm saying? I hear you.
But again, that's subjective too. That's all subjective. People may think that, because you stand on whatever principle you stand on, that's low character. But that's their opinion. It's all subjective. But the fact of the matter is, we're getting too deep right now. In terms of this story that Dev brought to us, I just think that she'll get opportunities, and how she handled it was trash. But I do think that she'll learn from it in terms of moving forward. And I think she will get opportunities whether we think she has talent or not. Fact of the matter is, we got TV over there. We think nobody on it.
I definitely think she'll get opportunities. First of all, she's not a bad looking bird, and that in and of itself, that combination, being outspoken and being having appeal, that's going to get her places. I just wish that she would.
Got a rack.
She would carry them. Now the face is beat. The cheeks is nice.
Too skinny for me. But anyway, shout out to the Greek Freak. The Greek Freak re-up with Nike, but this time, it's the kind of deal where he's going to get his own signature shoe. So shout out to him. We ain't really got to talk much about that because it is what it is. This is his time, as Jimmy likes to say about certain people. This is his time. So all of these things are going to come to him. And we'll try, if we get to it, we'll talk about the Greek Freak a little bit later in the episode. LeBron was exposed again, because it has happened to him before, for sliding into the DM of, is this another Instagram model? I love that.
Yeah.
I love that term, Instagram model. That's a thing in our society.
Bron got to stay off Instagram, man.
Her name is Heidi Hoback. So, ironic. Ironic. One of them things. Jokes write themselves, man. But she did, because LeBron went in there, because she had some photos up with her, like, dressed in fatigues with guns and face paint, looking like she was hunting or whatever. And LeBron just basically went in there and said, if you teach me how to hunt, I'll teach you how to ball. So she just put him out there and, quote, she said, athletes slide in girls' DMs all the time, so this isn't the craziest part, but sheesh, biggest buck I've ever seen on here. First of all, she called him a buck. And then, so then it blew up. A lot of people came at her or whatever. I give LeBron props, though, really, because, we all know what it means to slide into somebody's DM, but he keeps the language ambiguous enough that he can, he still has deniability on his side.
Yeah, he
you know what I'm saying? I was just playing around. She looked like she hunt. I was like, teach me how to hunt. I teach you how to ball. It was nothing more than that. We know what Brown was doing, but he was smart enough not to just. Yeah, he was smart enough not to just go in there, guns blazing, all reckless, just saying the wrong thing.
He wanted to pipe.
Yeah, he didn't. He ain't J.R. Smither. Like, oh, you want the fight? Like, so.
Yo, that's the greatest ever.
Salute to Ramon, man. Ramon was just trying to get his hoe back.
The jokes just write themselves, man. They just write themselves.
Heidi Hoback. She called him a buck, so she voted for Trump, basically.
But all in all, though, Brian got to chill. You can't risk it all for a quote-unquote IG model. She ain't got no money.
Every day,
you can't risk it all.
Unless he's James Harden. Because James Harden be drawn, he be getting caught.
Yo, but he don't got a wife and kids though.
Yeah, James Harden don't care. Because James Harden falls asleep with IG models, and he know they taking pictures of him while he sleep. So
and don't care.
He don't care.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Yo, if you stand too close to James Harden and that beard, it smell like Dookie Snacks because he eat it. He don't care. He don't care. I can tell you one of them bulls, man. One of them bulls.
Make me laugh before I give a rest in peace shout out to the great Roy Doc Holliday, who died in a plane crash, flying his own plane in the Gulf of Mexico the other day. This plane, first of all, his wife, she had a problem with him getting this plane. This is a very small A5. They said this plane can fold up so you can put it in your garage. Wings
put it in
fold
your
up.
Suitcase.
They said basically it's like a sports car with wings. And according to some video from some guys out on the water on TMZ, Doc Holliday was kind of acting recklessly, flying the plane 5 feet from the water, then going, up real high and then coming back down. So he was flying around kind of reckless, and it's crazy because what you saw him doing in that video, it just seemed like the total opposite of, I'm not even going to say his personality, I'm going to say the personality that he's tried to put out there to us for the past, decade or so when he was dominating in the major leagues. He seemed so reserved and, just so, he wasn't flashy or anything like that, didn't do anything controversial, didn't do anything risky. But you never know people in their private lives, They let it all hang loose and see who they want to be. So, I don't know what actually caused the accident, if he lost control or if it was something he did. But either way, man, rest in peace to Doc Holliday, man. 2-time Cy Young winner. Remember, he came to Philly and the city got so excited because at the time they had 4 great pitchers, and it just never materialized for them. That's funny because when they had 4, they couldn't win the World Series, but when they only had 1, who people wasn't even really convinced about, when he was there by himself, they won the World Series. So rest in peace, Doc Holliday. He will be in the Hall of Fame sometime soon. It's a shame that we're not, not going to be able to make that speech though. All right, so that's what happened this week, good people, while y'all were on the grind. And right after we give some birthday shout-outs, we're going to go back to the phone line and get into some NBA talk. Jim, who's having a birthday? Good brother.
You already know, man. The birthday shout-outs are brought to you by Digital Extreme Tech. Do you or your business need a custom website? Well, for dynamic, professional, and most of all, affordable website solutions for Digital Extreme Technologies. How do you visit them? DigitalExtremeTech.com. That's DigitalExtremeTech.com. Their number, 267-205-4203. If you have a website, kill yourself and then call Digital Extreme Tech. Let you come back alone.
If you got a website, you got the same type of beard as James Harden, for real.
No comment. Now, it's time to give some birthday shout-outs for this week.
Birthday, yay!
First birthday is one Adam Dunn, who turns 38. Salute to Adam Dunn.
Or in the world of MLB, strikeout artists, but home run artists.
Yeah. Well, most home run artists are strikeout artists. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, Anthony Bowie turns 54. You guys remember Anthony Bowie?
Yeah. I remember him when he played for the Orlando Magic, and he had like a box haircut, and it was corny.
He was corny.
Yeah,
he was short. His game was corny.
Bob Gibson turns 82.
Still ticking and kicking. Shout out to Bob.
And a rest in peace shout out to Whitey Herzog. Oh, my fault, he's still alive. Whitey Herzog is 86 years of age.
Whitey Herzog is
Happy
still
birthday
alive.
To Whitey Herzog. Yo, Whitey Herzog, I thought he was 86 like 40 years ago.
Yo,
I should have been 86 40 years ago with a name like Whitey.
No, when I saw that and I saw the age, I don't think he's 86. I think he's like lying by 15.
He just stopped at 86 and just kept.
Yeah, he just stopped at 86. That boy damn near 100.
Boy, stop counting. Anyway, man, happy birthday to Whitey Herzog, man. Salute to all them on their birthday or in their birthday week.
All right, y'all can check out our website at worldroomsports.com. If you want to call in and speak to us about any of today's topics, dial the Digital Extreme Tech hotline at numbers 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. Jim, just quickly pay this bill to Audible, and then we'll go to the phone lines before we go to the NBA rap.
Yeah, you already know. Salute to Audible. The NBA rap is brought to you by Audible. If you want to get a free audio book, just go to audibletrial.com. Salute to Gabrielle Union, who has the hottest audio book on the streets right now. And salute to my brothers that are listening, coming soon. Yeah, my man Gucci Mane got a fire audio book. Gabrielle Union has the hottest audio book. And you can get either one of those for free. audibletrial.com. And salute to Audible for the support of our podcast. But it's definitely time to talk about some hoops.
She be talking about Dwayne Wade and her eating each other's butts on that joint.
Yo, all I'm gonna say is this: outside of the Dwayne Wade stories, because she talks about pretty much everything, and she's very open and honest. Dwayne Wade either has to be the most secure man in the world, or she's just his beard. It's one or the other, because like no one wants to hear their wife talk about someone smashing them till they bleed on a and that's just one story, or how Jason Kidd tore up. No, but anyway, nobody wants to hear these kind of stories.
Wow. Yo. Mary Jane.
Hey, wait a month.
Here's the crazy part. She tells these stories and it makes you like her more because she's so like real, but at the same time, she's like real without like she's real and ratchet, but it's a different ratchet. It's not like I gotta see what they call it, sophisticated ratchet, but it's kind of weird because you actually end up liking her more, even though she's just telling you.
Leave it in.com or pull out or hashtag.
Wow, already
wanna.
Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, the basketball. Yeah.
No, we're gonna go to the phone line real quick. I think we got the homie Nas on the line. All right, Nas, what's going on, good brother?
What up with you, man? I'm good, man.
Nod, how are you, sir?
Man, I'm well. I ain't starting no fires this time. I just came to get along. You know what I mean? No trouble this time. But
already.
Hey, the conversation y'all hit on earlier, though, man, that joint was on point. Just talking about the artistic part of basketball as opposed to analytics. And it's like these two sides don't have to fight. It's like you need both. You need coaching eyes for the game, and you also need analytics to, look at the data and everything. But analytics doesn't go deep enough. Like the moments that y'all was hitting on earlier, like that's a big thing. If I look at data, it tells me Nick Anderson missed 4 free throws. But if I was watching that game, I saw his eyes. I saw the whole team looking shook afterwards. I saw a whole series turn at the free throw line.
No,
it's
you
like,
saw a whole life
about...
turn. You saw Nick lose his life at that free throw line. He never got his life back.
Right, and then y'all brought up the best stat of all time game, and they had Clyde in there. It's like, look, man, you're not going to tell me one of the greatest games of all time was played by a man who looked at his sneakers the whole game. Like, you're not going to tell me that.
And never put the ball in his left hand.
Yo, what was Clyde looking at?
How did Clyde do that?
What was he looking at?
My man never looked up.
Yo, he looked at the floor the whole time.
Barely put the ball in his left hand.
Yeah, man, he was staring at them sneakers the whole career. We all know this. But Isaiah hit on it too, and it's like the artistic part of the NBA is what makes the NBA, the Dr. J moments. Like we talk about the Kobe 81 game, we forget the Kobe 50-plus game in 3 quarters against the Mavericks. We sat down on them like, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? Like moments matter, especially in basketball. So yeah, I think you can't get too analytically driven and start trying to make a narrative out of it. And there's also the whole thing of people from certain schools, Ivy League and other places, trying to push out some of the basketball lifers and things like that and trying to discredit them. When it's like, look, man, y'all whole value is based on the three-point shot becoming an easier shot because people got, much more used to it and started using it more as a weapon. And I saw this coming in JUCO where we played with that close three-point line where marginal dudes from farm towns all of a sudden were valuable because you're shooting that little, short-ass three-point line. So now we're seeing that in the league to a degree because people, grew up with the three-point shot now. But, that, and then the data guys, of course, they're pushing lifers out, and I don't like that part because I think you do need both in this game. And Iverson, of course, that's the prime example. Yeah, you ain't going to appreciate his game looking at the numbers, but if you ever watched Iverson, you know what it is. And if you're a person who's ever been on the court, you know sometimes the blow-by can change the direction of a game. And sometimes the Vince Carter dunk ain't just 2 points. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it ain't. Like, it changes shit. Roger Goodell, just always know he's an opportunist, and everything he does is for self-interest always. So he'll change positions based on that. There's no moral compass moving there. That's just who Jerry Jones is. So now he's got Roger, kind of by the short hairs. And the funny thing is they want to put this dude on a incentive-based contract when everything is going the other way. Roger got fat while revenues were piling up, viewership was at all-time highs. So, hell, who couldn't have done that? Now you have to preside over the NFL with all of this going on. And really, let's be honest, David Stern couldn't have fixed this situation in the moment because the only answer they had was, okay, well, let's sit down and come up with something with unity or talk to the police unions or something. Like they didn't really have a fix for this because if you pull on that thread, that means you got to start talking about the DAs, you got to start talking about prosecution, mandatory minimum sentencing, policing in certain areas versus others. Like it doesn't just go with the shootings. It goes way beyond that, and they know better than to pull that thread. So, you got to give them credit.
They're not ready for that conversation.
Yeah, they're not dumb enough to fall for that. But, man, good show, though, tonight, man. I'm definitely enjoying listening to y'all, man. I haven't cussed out anybody at the job.
You didn't talk about what's going on in China, man.
Oh, man.
The balls are in China.
Dude, they give you a thorough walkthrough before you get there. They explain to you how dangerous it is as far as, doing anything that could be considered criminal. And they got lucky, man. The fact that they're getting to stay at that hotel and getting a form of house arrest as opposed to things getting a little deeper, they got really lucky on this. This is a new world, a new China to a degree, so they're being lenient. And being a member of the Ball family probably helps. Now he's going to have to go over there and get in that market. They probably had to call Yao Ming on this, the new commissioner of the Chinese basketball league, for those that don't know. So, I mean, yeah, shit got real, and that Ball family, man.
Yao better than Shaq.
I don't want to see them fail, man, because there's so many people who want to see them fail, but damn, they keep making the wrong moves.
All right, Nas, man. As usual, thanks for your call, man. A lot of great points.
Indeed, man. Y'all hold it.
All right. No, all right. That's what's up. No, that definitely some good points on that, man. Like, they had, like, UCLA, you don't just take a basketball team over there and don't brief these young guys about what it is and what you can and can't do, what you should and what you shouldn't do. So, yeah, I'm sure they were told. But, you know, you at a certain age, you kind of think you're invincible. You kind of think everything you do is going to work. Everything's going to work out for the better. But they are getting out easy if they do the whole house arrest thing because, you know, you get to be on house arrest in a pretty nice hotel. Yeah, definitely getting off easy if that's the case. Banishment from China. I guess Jello just can't be a part of Melo's geography class. No big deal. He'll get to see some other places in his life. All right. So the Greek Freak, we talked about him earlier, signing a new deal with Nike. Now, prior to this, in the offseason, you know how LeBron likes to friend everybody who's on the rise in the league or the next superstar. He likes to do the whole let's work out together thing. We saw a video of he and Kevin Durant working out. And I remember we had this whole argument, this conversation in the War Room Sports Game Time group about this. And, you know, I was basically expressing my dislike for that whole thing. It's like, you know, these guys are your rivals. I'm not saying that dudes can't be cool, dudes can't be friends, but working out, like, I don't need people to see, you know, my tendencies. I don't need LeBron because LeBron is a smart dude. Everybody raves about his basketball IQ, but then they want to ignore things like this. Like, if you're working out together, LeBron is watching you. LeBron is figuring, you know, he's noticing that, you know, that pull-up J that you do, you only do it when you go left. He's noticing the faces you might make before you're about to do this. Like, the dude is watching. And he extended an invitation to Giannis to work out during the offseason, and Giannis basically told LeBron, thanks but no thanks, FOH. So what do y'all think about that? Like, because I don't remember what side of the coin y'all were on when we had that big discussion, but what do y'all think about guys, you know, stars like this working out together, and what do you think about Giannis turning the king down?
Yo, respect and salute to Giannis. I know a lot of LeBron swallowers are going to say he could learn so much from LeBron, and he could. Yo, I'm 1,000,000% with you. I think the only workout in the summer that should occur is if we gonna do a pickup league, and like we playing pickup with Hoodie Melo and the Hoodie Squad. Like, outside of that,
mind that. Yeah, because
I ain't trying to work out.
When people weren't trying to understand what I was saying, like that's different. Like, you're running a pickup game. You're not sitting here doing, you know, rep after rep after rep about what you're working on or what you're trying to add to your game. Like, people really discounted that when I was trying to say that. And just like we gave the shout out to the homie Ron Glover earlier, whoever wrote this article, and I think it was Kevin Arnovitz, a 4-letter staff writer, he kind of said, you know, what I said, but he said it in a much better way. And he, let me find that part of the article. Y'all can go ahead while I find it. Like, give me your thoughts on this. Because I want to know if I was overreacting when I was saying all that.
Here's my thoughts real quick. My thoughts are, I was listening to what Des said, and I actually had like a not an epiphany, but I was like, damn, you know what? You're right. So salute to Giannis for one, but also salute to Bron because Bron found a way to get another edge by basically getting he's covering every angle. Like, I'm going to invite these dudes. They're going to want to play with me because I'm LeBron. You know what I'm saying? I get these IG models. And at the same time, he's picking up things to use against them on the floor. So if they dumb enough to fall for it, salute to him for figuring out a new way to.
I'm not. Listen, I'm 1,000,000% with you. Yo, salute to LeBron because up until now, I think he went to see the Wizard again. But up until now, it's not like they're gonna pick up any skills from him. Like he doesn't have any signature moves that he's gonna work on. So he's just picking out their signature moves and able to see their tendencies, what they're gonna do on which side of the floor, what they work. Yo, I think it's brilliant on his part.
Let me read this quick paragraph to y'all. The writer of the piece, he said, members of the Milwaukee Bucks front office and coaching staff encouraged Antetokounmpo to take LeBron up on the invitation. What better way to hone one's game than training with the best player in the world? But Antetokounmpo would have none of it. Though he has a baller's appreciation of James and his place in the game, the Bucks franchise player has no interest in following LeBron around like a puppy. Besides, why would he want to give his fiercest Eastern Conference rival a free look at his tendencies, vulnerabilities, and anything he might be working on for the upcoming season? And that's exactly the stuff that I was saying, like, because people kept asking me, like, then what's the difference of them, you know, they practice together at the Olympics and they run pickup games together. That is different. A practice and a workout are two different things, in my opinion. And if you think they're the same things, then, you know, Godspeed. But they're not the same thing.
You never played ball.
And a practice is a different thing. Right? Hit them with
and the thing is,
if you think they're the same thing, then you ain't got no heavy pull-up Jimmy.
I don't think it's the same thing. I understand your point, but I actually understand both points because I read so many biographies, I recognize that this has always happened. It's just that now, like, dudes take pictures and put up videos and all that, but this has pretty much happened. Like, Bill Russell talks about how him and all the best players in the league played together, like, all season two, as did Dr. J.
Played together. Hoodie Mellow
played together. Jim. Everybody plays together. Jordan used to have a little joint where everybody would come through and play pickup
No,
games.
I'm talking about work out together, preparing for the season, to the point where Russell even talks about preparing for the season where they, like, live together in the off season. Like, he stayed at his crib. Like and they would work out for the upcoming season.
Russell realized he was corny. He realized he was corny and he couldn't yam, and so he was trying to pick up. That wasn't work. That was a different type of workout.
He was trying to get some leftovers.
Yeah, that's another type of workout, Jimmy.
No, but my point is, it's kind of like the way the world is now kind of changes things, because a lot of corniness or things that we deem corny, they've always been corny, but they've always happened. But now we get to see the corniness.
Yeah, but I've never ever not accused NBA players of being corny. So, like, it's not like revisionist history for me. Like I've
Magic,
said,
Magic and Isaiah and Mark Aguirre worked out like all the time.
Magic and Isaiah kissed on the lips too. They corny.
Listen, they definitely corny. Yo, but to the point, Adrian Dantley. Remember the point where Zeke was like, "Yo, I got to get Bo on my squad." You know what I mean?
I can tell you this. Do you notice everybody Jimmy naming is corny? Yo, Adrian Dantley retired to go be a crossing guard. Come on, man.
Whatever they did, though, I can tell you one difference. Whatever they did back then, it didn't translate over to the basketball court. You can tell these dudes are close.
No, I agree with that.
Like Magic and Zeke kiss on the lips for the game, and then Magic put Zeke on his butt when he came down.
And you won those games. They almost threw hands. They almost left their hands, but it was almost rumbling. Like, so, and this is a game in which they like embrace
rumble after a kiss.
Zeke played years with Rick Mahorn and then punched him in the face when he was with somebody else.
Yo, punched him right in the face. Yeah, so I mean, I get your point, but I think it's one of those things now where these dudes like, and we talked about this before, like, they don't, like, the game is their hustle. Essentially, the game is their hustle.
I definitely
so much money to be made from it.
There's more of a me.
Free agency is so crazy now.
Yeah, there's more of a me approach to it because everybody comes in understanding that they're an individual brand and an individual business, it's almost like they're coming together in a joint venture. Like they're not really under the same umbrella. We're just joint venturing to be on the court because off the court we got all these other streams of income.
It's funny because something that the chick said when she was in the Breakfast Club, like she was maybe like the third person I heard say that. She was like, well, the NBA don't worry about this because the players run that league. And like, she's like the third person I heard say that. And I've been thinking about that. Like, do they really? I said, well, I guess more so than any other league, they kind of like do run the league.
I mean,
so
you market the players
like,
if you're big.
Guys like Dr. J and Magic and Bird and Michael Jordan kind of laid the groundwork to the point where these guys recognize their value and leverage that to the point where I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to play with who I want to play with. You're going to pay me. Y'all going to enjoy it. And I'm going to get rich and I'm going to chase chips because of Mike. I'm not going to have these chips.
Yeah, shout out to Kevin Durant who sat out the Warriors last game and the Warriors won by 24. Shout out to the Warriors winning. Shout out to the Warriors winning their last 14 straight when Kevin Durant missed the game, and shout out to them being 16-4 when he misses games. Period.
They don't even need ball.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yo,
that's my point.
I definitely agree. I feel like the NBA.
Is all my fault?
Yeah, it is, but the NBA is completely player driven, especially even in the way it's marketed, because there's probably 20 players that are bigger than the game, if not 25 in the NBA, and there's probably about 3 in the NFL, if that.
I don't know if it's 25, but
you want
but I get your point.
Out a little bit on the number. So your point is valid.
Took the number
your
way
point
out
is
there.
really valid though, because you think about the number of players that you people can just look at in the NBA and NFL and be like, oh, I know who he is. Like, it's nothing. Like, Peyton Manning is going.
I mean, let me give you an example.
I mean, bigger than the game, B. I go LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Deion Waiters. That's the list.
No doubt.
No. Deion Waiters. That's the list. That's the whole list. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Real quick, because we got to roll in a second. I just wanted to get you guys' opinion on like Dwayne Wade. You remember last season, he and Jimmy Butler were kind of saying things in the media about their young teammates that people didn't take well. Even Rondo had something to say about how they were handling how they were going to the media. And Rondo was like, when I was young, my veterans didn't do this. They didn't go to the media. If they had something to say, they say it to you. Anyway, after 10 games, Dwayne Wade says, I want one time for the first unit to get on the second unit because we blew a lead. I'm waiting for that day to happen. So he's calling out the starters because the second unit has to always come in with a deficit. Now, do y'all think that's cool to say that publicly? Or, do y'all not care? Or is that
I don't think it's cool, but I think it goes with the day and times. I'm going to take a Jimmy approach. It's just the times we live in.
It's the times we live in.
Yo.
He the new dude on the team. And the thing is, he said it after he had 25, 11, and 6. Now, he's only had one game this season where he had those kind of stats. So he waited till he balled out to say something like that. Like, come on, D-Wade.
Yo, salute to him for waiting, though, because my man probably was in the win. He probably wanted to say that for weeks. And was like, damn.
I like, man, I got something to say. I got a story to tell.
Yo, it's sad
I had to wait till he
play,
got 25.
He's literally like a shell of himself. I was watching some highlights the other day on YouTube, and I forgot how good D-Wade was. Like, D-Wade was that guy a couple of years ago. But, oh, man, that's hilarious. Anyway, man,
we got to resolve.
We definitely do. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for joining us for another briefing in the War Room. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, Facebook, Twitter, everybody in our group app. Thank you to the people that called in and got through. We appreciate those we couldn't get to. We apologize. But we will be here next week. Special thanks to Gus Gibson and Fred Perdue for coming in as well to give us their information on, his investment picks in college football talk. But remember, you can catch everything on demand. You can go to WRSPN.com to catch our podcast network for all the other shows. And don't forget, we will be back here same time, same bat channel, and we'll catch you up on everything happening in the world of sport. Be sure to catch everything that we do. This includes our social media. This includes our webcast, our podcast. Everything can be found at the hub, which is warroomsports.com. Also, copy my book, Sports the Book. You can find that at sportsthebook.com or at the hub of warroomsports.com. So until next time, everybody, do not accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance, and we'll see you chumps on top.
All to you all.
6 to 8. Yeah. War Room Sports. Y'all ready? Let's go. Stay in tune to Jimmy. Know the blueprint. Yo. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev, PJ, B. Austin, Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. If not, dial 323-140012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Yeah. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the block push. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip hop scholars, pit stop knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC, royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, PJ, Scott Beck, B. Austin. I'm Jock. I'll be coming on the beat.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.